Hi everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of Pitstop Fracas. It's our first race review of the season and we have a very special episode in store for you today. Charles Leclerc has collected his first race win of the season in a Ferrari 1-2, a heritage victory for Formula One. It took place under the lights of Bahrain. Lewis Hamilton came in third. Red Bull, who were running, or I would say, top 1 or 2 throughout the whole weekend, ended up with 2 DNFs. So yeah, Horner, Wheatley, Marco, and everyone associated with the Red Bull Motor Racing Group, you gotta hold that. And with me to go through all the action that took place in Bahrain, I got Martz, I got JL, and we've got a very, very special guest in the house. We got Robbie from DR Sports and AFTV. Robbie, sir, how are you keeping?
No, good. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed the race today. You know, we covered it over on DR, and it was a fantastic race. It was, especially, a new season, new cars. I was really intrigued to see how it was all going to play out because, we've seen all the practicing and the qualifying, but it's that when you watch all those things, it's just races. It's just cars racing on their own, really. But I wanted to see what it was going to be like them racing, proper racing up against each other, and it was a really fascinating race.
Yeah, top race, and we'll definitely get stuck into that. Martin, quickly, how you keeping, mate?
Yeah, pretty good weekend. Yeah, Celtics win, Arsenal win. Yeah, that's it really.
There you go. And last but not least, my Ferrari brother JL, how you keeping?
I'm good. I can finally stop caring about Man United. F1 is back, so that could be my focus.
Another team in red, yeah?
Yeah, basically. Like one of them has to do well. So, but I'm good.
That hasn't been the case for the past 3 years, has it?
I suffered. I've really, really suffered. So, yeah, man, I'm going to enjoy today.
Cheers, brother. Right, let's quickly get stuck into it. So, qualifying, from what we saw on FP1 right through to FP3, to me, it seemed like Red Bull had the quickest package on one lap and across the long run, so race pace as well. And, Leclerc managed to stick it on pole. I'm not surprised by that because I think he's a very talented driver, but I was expecting Red Bull to lock out the front row. As it eventually panned out, Leclerc got P1, Max P2. Who was P3? Sainz was P3, Perez P4, and then the Mercs were 5th and Russell back in 9th. Quickly touching on the Mercs, I'm going to come to you, Robbie. What have you made of their car throughout testing, the new side pods and qualifying? What did you make of that?
Well, they've obviously gone for a different design to everybody else. And they haven't really got off to a great start. You could see that the car was off the pace. I wondered, and because we've heard this before from Mercedes. Like Hamilton will be talking, like as if it's doom and gloom for the car, and then he'll turn up and win a race. But I think actually you could see the car is a bit below par at the moment. I think it will improve, but they were definitely off the pace in qualifying, and 5th and 9th. That was pretty accurate. They were just off the pace.
Yeah, well, weren't good at all, especially if you're a Mercedes fan. And when you consider that Toto Wolff had been suggesting that, yeah, look, we're working on this car for a long time. I think it was straight after Austria. We all remember it after Austria when Max slapped 30 seconds on everyone. He's like, yeah, we're looking at this 21 car. We're working on it. Everything's going to be fine. It's not looking that way because, to be honest with you, qualifying, there were Lewis to get half a second to pole was absolute sterling job. But sticking with the Mercedes. Yeah, go for it, Robbie.
No, I was saying that Lewis actually done a good job when you consider how poor the car was. But this is, as I said, I was right at the start of the show. I was really intrigued to see how the cars are going to figure this season because with all the changes that they've made, hopefully, and I think maybe we've kind of seen that a little bit, it kind of levels it up a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because the Mercedes and the Red Bull have been so far ahead of all the other cars over the past few years. You know, I think it is good that they're trying to level things up, and it's certainly, you know, you can see Mercedes are having problems. It's not the all-conquering Mercedes that we've seen over the last few years.
Exactly. And I think when you look at the power unit of the Ferrari, especially, you saw Alpha up there, Bottas P6. You even saw K-Mag up there as well. You know, managed to get into the top, I think it was the top 10 he qualified. Yeah, so you got P7. Sticking with the engine theme, though, and coming back to the Mercedes engine, Martin, I'm going to come to you. Yeah, Aston Martin and McLaren and Williams, like, what's happening there, man?
So it's like a combination of issues, isn't it? A lot of people are trying to say, you know, it's not the Mercedes power unit, it's just all aero. And yeah, I mean, it could be a coincidence that all 4 teams got the aero wrong, but it's really not. Like, you can even tell from the top speed and the speed traps, all the data we have always all points towards that there's not enough in the power unit at this moment in time. And I think the major parts for the power already. So Mercedes have a matter of 6 months it is till September, 1st of September. Yeah, they have up to 1st of September to sort it out, and they just need to find some power from somewhere. That's it, really, man. I don't know what more they can do. Toto was talking all this talk after Drive to Survive, saying, yeah, everyone's got a target on their back and everyone should be scared. But listen, the wrong people are scared, because I'm the one that's scared. Yeah. But Lewis, number 8, where is it? I was promised a rocket ship. I want my rocket ship. I heard they were consulting with, what was it, fighter jet guys. That's why they got these new side pods. Where is my rocket ship? I want my rocket ship.
That should probably be the title of the pod. Where is my rocket ship? Let's get into the race itself, though. And I think all the talk overnight, you know, Charles P1, Leclerc P2, everyone brought up the clips of them battling in karting in 2012. You know, it was just an incident, and Max complaining this, that, and the third. To be honest with you, as the race kicked off, it was quite clean. Leclerc obviously was on a little bit of violence, getting off the starting line and covering off Max, but they all got through cleanly. Bottas dropped like a stone, as he usually does. Perez dropped down the order. Lewis Hamilton managed to get up to 4th, and then they switched around again because Perez was able to get ahead of him. And then I really want to talk about what happened after the first sequence of pit stops. And Red Bull tried to perform the undercut. Max's tyres, his used tyres at the time, were sort of coming to the end of their life. They pitted. And then on his outlap, he was setting, I think, purples. Ferrari weren't playing games though with their strategy. They were like, we're not going to go long or play any mind games. Let's just cover off the pit stop, which was quite surprising, to be honest, from Ferrari. In covering it off, it brought Max and Charles out literally neck and neck onto the racetrack. And I think it was that 17, 18, 19. They were battling for P1. JL, you took a sip of... What's that you're drinking there, JL? Is it whiskey? Is it champagne?
Water today. Water today.
You knew anyway. You've got to stay hydrated. Oh yeah, because we're going to be popping bottles later. But
yeah.
Talk me through that exchange between Max and Charles. What did you make of it?
You know, that exchange was. It's funny because we were talking about in the chat that if that was science, the first overtake that Max does, I think he stays ahead. And I think Leclerc, I've always said he's a talented driver. Some just say he's aggressive. And Max probably met a driver today who, in essence, first race, he knows, Leclerc knows he's in the fast package. Okay. Over the start finish line, first turn, you take me. But come the next DRS zone, I've got you again. And it almost, if you were an amateur and you're watching that race, that sequence, you would think Leclerc is a world champion, and Max is amateur. Because to do the same maneuver once, it doesn't work. Fine, I get it. Twice, it doesn't work. It hope a different result. Fine. But a third time, in the exact same spot, just shows how frustrated, how, I don't want to say entitled, but he almost felt, yes, I'm going to keep doing this until you, Leclerc, yields. And it was good to see Leclerc didn't. Ferrari have a good package, and ultimately he messed up in his third try because he obviously went deep, locked his tires, and Leclerc didn't just said, "Okay, thanks, I've got this," and just carried on driving. It does also for the future of the season. Obviously, we can't predict the future. Shows that Ferrari have a driver who is willing to go toe to toe, irrespective of the outcome. I know we talked at length about Lewis and last season and the times he let Max get away with things. Leclerc won't. So it will be interesting to see when those two clash again, and they will, what will be the outcome.
Yeah, straight up, straight facts. I mean, look, I know it's only one race in, but you know, if it is going to be Max and Charles battling it out for the title, Max is already 26 points behind, and Red Bull need to start making up that gap to them. Robbie, let me come to you quickly on this. Was that a race defining move or dummy from Leclerc on Max? The way he kind of set him up, Max cooked his brakes, Max cooked his tires. Not even that move alone. I think just the exchanges before. Would you say that was sort of race defining?
Yeah, no, it was right from the start of the race. You know, I kind of was looking at it and thinking to myself at the start of the race, we'll see Max do, you know, his real aggressive move and get away in front. Because remember, these cars this year, you don't have so many problems with the dirty air. So you can, you know, it's all been designed so that we're going to get more racing, more overtaking. So I'm thinking to myself, getting pole position is probably not even as, you know, you're not a certainty to get away as number one like you were last year. Even then, it wasn't a certainty. So I was really expecting Max to pull a move on him right on the first lap, and Leclerc covered him off brilliantly. And then, you know, like you guys said, when they then done, you know, their first pit stop, again, Leclerc, the way he defended that, his maneuvers and that were brilliant. And it's like JL said, Leclerc is a top driver. He's a top driver. He's just not really been in the car to compete with these guys. But he is a really highly rated driver. And I think that this season, you're going to see him battling it out. It's going to be between him, Verstappen and Lewis. I think the three of them are going to be in the conversation this year. I was lucky enough to be there the last time Leclerc won. I was at Monza when Leclerc won that. I've got a friend, lucky enough, I've got a friend who's a friend of mine works for Williams, and I was actually in the pits and I was there, and it was unbelievable. And that day he drove a great race, and the reaction from the Italian crowd, and it was a great day. And the Italians, obviously everybody in Italy loves Ferrari. It was like being at a football match that day. Honestly, the atmosphere. And I think that this guy, he's going to be driven. If he can get a couple of wins under his belt, he's going to be a threat to both of those guys this year. And his driving today was excellent. I think he was the best. You know, for me, he was my driver of the day because he just done everything immaculately. And, you know, Verstappen, as we know, is normally the aggressor. Didn't really lay a glove on him, did he? So
He didn't.
Leclerc, brilliant.
I think if I was to summarize those three exchanges, the first time, you know, he dummied him, Max went down the inside, and then he got him at turn 4 around the outside. Second time, he got him at the same corner on the inside. And the third time, if you notice, on the third time, he was recharging his battery down the straight, which meant he was slower. Obviously, Max, like a rocket ship, came through. Max cooked it. He smoked his tires, smoked his brakes, but then it allowed him on the straight down to turn 4 because he had charged up his battery, Leclerc, just to pull away, and Max wasn't even close. But regardless, his brakes and tires were cooked by that point.
And then,
And then I
even
suppose-
later on, you know what I mean, when the safety car come out again, I mean, it was immaculate the way he won that race. He didn't put a foot wrong throughout the whole race.
That
got
restart
anything to say,
was
Martz?
no, that restart was amazing. I'm sorry. You see, Max tried to. You remember he done it to Lewis in Abu Dhabi, and he got up right beside him, and Max tried to do it, but then obviously he had to warm up his tires again. And at that moment, Leclerc just gone, dash, pulled away, and just left him for dead. And Max was literally just chasing him for the rest of the race. He just couldn't do anything about it. I think he showed so much maturity. I think Leclerc, I've never seen like him drive like this before. And he showed a lot of maturity compared to how, for example, Max versus Lewis last season. There was a lot of immaturity from Max in his driving, in the way he was driving. But Leclerc, this is his first time. He knows what the Ferrari car can do, and he knows what he wants to do this year. And he kind of just drove like how I would say Lewis would have drove, or any other champion would have drove. He's driving like a world champion at this moment in time. It's too bad he won't finish there, but it's not. He could drive like that. It's nice to see.
I mean, look, it remains to be seen, and I think from a neutral, especially, it's good to see that someone can actually go toe to toe with Max. That's not Lewis, and actually get the better of him. You know, fair and square. So, look, as the race progressed, though, kind of got caught into Red Bull's, what I'm going to call their failures today. Red Bull, whatever they are, Red Bull, Powertrain, Honda, whatever it is, just call it Red Bull. They decided to pit Max, and in doing so, it seemed like he had an issue with the steering. He came out, and I think he came out about 30 seconds behind Leclerc in about, I think it was about 20, I don't know, probably about 15, 20 laps or so to chase down Leclerc, which I think was a nigh on impossible task.
But Leclerc still had
and
to
then,
pit.
Sorry?
Didn't he? Didn't Leclerc still have to pit?
No, he
this
didn't
was
need
the
to
third time. Oh, yeah, he pitted 3 times, didn't he? Okay,
yeah, he pitted 3 times because I think they just tried to put him on softs and then just go and just pelt it and just try and chase Leclerc. Let me come to you, JL, on this. What did you make of that pit stop? And then, actually, you know what? Let's just discuss, man. Apparently they had an engine problem, Red Bull, and it all catapulted after the whole safety car incident. Like Max lost power, he DNF'd. Perez binned it down at turn 1 on the last lap. Like, what did you make of the whole Red Bull scenario? The Red Bull fiasco.
I just want to say, they did find out what the problem was. It was something they said to do with. It wasn't Horner. I saw Ted Kravitz speak about it in his notebook. He said it was something to do with the fuel, one of the fuel lines. It's like a common part, so it could have happened to any team, but it just so happened that it happened to Red Bull. So it is a common part that all the cars, So it could be something how their car isn't working well with that fuel line because obviously got new types of fuel and stuff. So that is it. But Gasly was a power failure. So there's something wrong with the MGU, or whatever it's called. Yeah, gone jail.
Yeah, no. When Max pitted, I was stressing because it was one thing Ferrari don't do well, or haven't done well in last several seasons, is strategy. So I was sitting there, okay, what's the best thing to do? Do they pit to cover Max again, or do they stay out? So at first I thought, okay, this might be a good strategy for Red Bull because they have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, the pressure, last 2-3 laps, if Max was close enough, might have been enough. Then we get the safety car, and I'm there thinking, okay, where is Charles? Because if Charles has just passed,
that's exactly what I was thinking as well. He has to pit.
Like if he was, thankfully he was on the right side of the track at the time, other side of the. But if he was just passing the start finishing line, So when they said, okay, he still had half a lap to go, I was happy. The restart was, as you said, was perfect, like textbook. He got it spot on, and these Red Bull failings, I think if you look at the whole weekend, well, we've heard Max complain a lot. We've heard that it's what he does, but today he really started really agitated, and I don't know if that's because of all of the cloud over it. Everyone's still talking about Lewis, this championship. Is it real, fake, whatever? It really got to him, and I feel as though had those issues happened to any other top driver in the better, so let's, we can argue order, but Lewis, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, whoever, I think their handling of it would have been better. Maybe the same outcome, the car still may have been retired, but you would not have heard all that moaning and noise on the radio.